Hey everyone, this is Chris, MTGO's Rec Start, and back for part 2 in this week's show and tell, and we are going to take a look at the Goblin Storm list, playing here against the Mongoose list, which we will be talking about in part 3. So stay tuned for part 3 for a little more on that. Now we've got the Sacrifice outlet comes out here, Goblin Sledder, and a couple of Mongooses. Now, pause right here. I know, and we're going to talk about in part 3 of the Mongoose deck, that a couple of the concerns I had about it were A, not enough blue cards to support the Force of Will, and then B, the lack of a tropical island to fetch. And I don't know if File God has a Daze or a Force of Will in his hand, but he's going to really wish he had it here in just a moment, because Fecundity's going to come down, and that's the key spell to Frenzy's entire deck, and if he could have countered it there, it would have made a world of difference here, because Frenzy gets short on land, and File God is able to get a significant beatdown force going here. So File God deploys the Taurian Mauler, continues to develop his board here. He's nowhere close at this point to having a threshold, but he's still able to swing in for a decent amount, and that fetch land puts him down to 9. But here we're going to see these two Seething Songs are going to be enough, and Frenzy is going to take the next 2 minutes to himself as he goes off here, so let's follow him through it. The Seething Songs give him enough for the War Chief and the Matron at a discount, of course. Now he's going to get the Skirk Prospector, which is the other card he needs to start going off. So now everything he plays is going to generate mana for him. Well, on the back end anyways, and some of these, basically Mog War Marshal with the War Chief out, he gets 3 guys he can sack out of this, so it turns it into a red dark ritual, basically. A red dark ritual that draws you 3 cards for that matter with the Fecundity out. So yeah, 1 red, add 3 red mana to your mana pool, draw 3 cards. That sounds good to me. The dark ritual ancestral recall split card there. And now the sharpshooter is going to come down, and he's going to sack the sharpshooter. He's still digging here. He doesn't have the sharpshooter combo hand here because you need to get to an empty the Warrens. So again, he's just going to keep burning through these guys here until he finds what he needs. He's got a pretty decent storm count at this point. It's not on the board over here where I can see it anyways. But MTGO does count your storm counts now, which is kind of nice. Playing again, I've never played Storm myself, but normally playing against it, I get to just watch my inevitable doom while I wait for them to finish whatever goofy turn they're doing. So still burning through guys. He's got 6 mana left in reserve at this point, and really just digging for that empty the Warrens, so that he can go off and win. And he's got to love drawing those Mog War Marshals while he's got the Skirk Prospector out, because they're drawing him 3 cards. And finally gets to the empty the Warrens, and Frenzy's going to scoop to that, but he had 2 red mana left, so he could play the Bushwhacker with Kicker and win this turn, so that would have happened that way anyways. Now let's take a look. Here he is playing against me in round 3. I had started off 2-0. I was trying Slug 360's challenge, which was you had to go at least 3-1 with the deck that he had designed, and it was a fun deck, very high variance, however, and you will get to see me have a fairly explosive start here, but not enough, unfortunately. Now he mulled to 5 and kept I mean, there's not a lot going on here, but as you're going to see, it's going to be enough. I led on an Ulvenwald tracker. Wasn't really sure what was going on here. I just knew he was goblins. I didn't know he had all this other stuff going on. And then I think I get a little going on here. Yeah, here we go. Burning Tree Emissary into Lightning Mauler. My deck looks like a standard deck, except for that Taiga. It was really fun, though. And I'm swinging in there with looking like my little Gruul Beats deck. And here comes a Fecundity, and at that point I wasn't really sure what to think. Drop another Lightning Mauler and pair it with the Ulvenwald Tracker, and I just swing in here. Alright, now he's got a little Empty the Warrens here just to keep himself alive because he's at 6, and so I did have him on the back foot here to my credit, but it's not going to last too long. Chain Priest of Urabrask into Lightning Mauler, and I just decide to keep the pressure on. My thinking here was that, and I'll pause it for a second. I knew that he would take out a significant portion of my board. He would get to draw some cards here, but I really didn't have. I didn't know what he had in his hand, and my thinking was, well, I'm going to beat in. I'm going to get to draw some cards. He's going to get to draw some cards. I'm going to get possibly some damage through. I knew I'd get at least 2 damage through if I did this attack, and so I figured that gives me a chance to draw the Fire Blasts because there were 3 Fire Blasts in my deck, and that would have immediately won me the game had I drawn to the Fire Blast. Unfortunately, I did not draw to the Fire Blast, and he was able to draw off all these Fecundity triggers what he needed to start going off. So I don't know in hindsight if it might have been better to just hold back there. With these being his next draw steps, he wouldn't have gotten anything. He didn't have a sack outlet, so I might have been able to just hold off. But again, I don't know what I'm doing to kill him, barring swinging in. I don't recall what it was in my hand. But again, maybe I should have waited until I could have alpha struck past his guys. But anyway, so he has this huge one here, and I'm just going to rebuild my board and try to live long enough until I can draw. Oh man, I had a pretty nice one. I probably should have waited for Alpha Strike the next turn. Well, I guess I drew some of that off of the Fecundity. Burning Tree Emissary and Emir Superion was fun all day. This was the 3rd Goblin deck I had played in a row, and the first 2 Goblin decks I had a lot of trouble with Burning Tree Emissary into Emir Superion, as you can imagine. And if you're going to try the challenge, the Slugs Supervine deck here is very fun to play, very high variance, and but probably one of the more affordable ones to play. I think the whole thing is about a couple $100, but if you already own Vengevines from when they were in Standard, it's much cheaper than that. Anyways, he's got his mojo going here again with Goblin Warchief turning all of his dudes into rituals, and now he's going to Matron for. I think, does he get the Sharpshooter? He does, and the Sharpshooter is going to let him start burning some of these guys, doing some damage to me. I went ahead and made him play it out, but I think eventually he just Grape Shot kills me. You don't see his Storm counter, but I think that's what he does. You see him pitch. He picks off. Yep. There I go, there I go. And he does a huge Empty the Warrens because he draws into that, so that would, yeah. So, and then at that point, he's definitely got me with Sharpshooter, Empty the Warrens. So, anyways, I had a rather ludicrous-looking start when you look at the number of creatures I had on the field compared to my lands. I would have figured that was, I mean, short of the Faithless Looting Vengevine hands, this was probably one of the better aggressive starts that I get, but not quite fast enough. So, now let's going to skip ahead to, here he is playing in the finals against Slug 360, who took the event down. Slug was also playing Goblins. Again, Kuma will have talked about it, but it was an Immortal Servitude build. So, turn 1 Bushwhacker, probably so he can lay a Skirk Prospector and get a Taiga and maybe cast Fecundity next turn. Or I guess he could, yeah, that's probably what he does. No, he's going to Rite of Flame. Yeah, okay, you can Rite of Flame into that, yeah, alright. Doesn't need to blow it that way. Now, Mog Fanatic, Goblin Slider down here. His own Skirk Prospector over here. Again, Slug is playing all these 1 CMC guys because he just wants to be able to sack them for value and then return them all to the battlefield with the Immortal Servitude. So his deck is obviously an aggro combo variant as well. So again, really interesting that we had 2 Goblin lists that both skewed into that aggro combo direction. So Frenzy trying to get his mojo working here. He's got some triggers off the Fecundity. Of course, the problem here is that Slug's got a lot of the same stuff going on, not with the exact same end game, but with a pretty similar idea. I mean, and Fecundity is a symmetrical effect, Slug, if he wants to, can burn a bunch of his own guys. And now Slug has also got the combo that his Goblin Sledder can pump the Spike Shot Elder to amazing power, and then the Spike Shot Elder can do his damage and just dome the opponent for a bunch. So Slug trying again to get going here. Now he's got some rituals in hand. He's going to Seething Song there, gets him to 5. War Chief leaves him at 2, but now he can play that Mog War Marshal. But he does not have the Skirk Prospector, which he needs to really make this velocity go. This really would have been a good week to be running Cursed Totem. And again, I hate the fact that it's, bad in multiples, and if you need it, you need it. It's one of those cards that, again, if you have Enlightened Tutor and you're playing some sort of Enlightened Tutor package, Cursed Totem is something I would consider. It really is the null rod of creature decks. But anyways, here's the Immortal Servitude, brings everything back to the field, and now Slug is going to be able to beat in here for a absolute ton and take down the game. So anyways, that's gives you an idea about how Frenzy's deck played out, and a little bit of his highlight there against Slug, which probably Kuma covered in his video. So join me in part 3. We're going to take a look at the Mongoose deck. So I will see you then.